what engages people on social media? And I was like, wow, these giveaways keep popping up on my feed that people do. And I was like, well, would you mind sending one product to me? And then can you hold one in trust and we'll run a giveaway and we'll send you the winner's information. And part of it will be like for them to follow you. So it builds some additional followers and brand awareness for them. And so that was the part that helped to start to tick the followers up a little bit, because now you're incentivizing a potential audience to get involved with it too.
Well, hi there, and welcome to Side Hustle Hero, the podcast that inspires action and helps you grow your side hustle into a thriving income stream. I'm your host, Joan, author of The Way Success Works. Today, we're focusing on how to turn your passion into profit. You'll meet Luke Lorick, the driving force behind a thriving tailgating side hustle that's grown into more than just a fun pastime. Through its multiple income streams and over 300,000 followers on social media, Luke shows how following your passion can pay off. He breaks down the art of tailgating, what it means, how he built a community around it, and the strategies he's used to gain traction. Like me, are you curious about how those online giveaways work and how to partner with brands for them? Luke pulls back the curtain on how he structures those deals, giving us insider tips to apply to our own side hustles. His promotional savvy and skill even landed him a Guinness World Record and a tailgating cameo in the Barbie movie. Despite balancing a demanding corporate job, Luke's hustle continues to grow, proving that with passion and perseverance, you can turn just about any side gig into a profitable venture. But before all that, if our chats are sparking your entrepreneurial spirit and providing valuable insights, consider showing your support by visiting sidehustlehero.com/support. That's where you can shoot me a virtual coffee. It's a real thing and a fun way to give the show a caffeinated thumbs up. Thank you so much. Now here's my conversation with the founder of, get this, National Tailgating Day, Luke Lorick. Well, welcome, Luke.
Excited to be here. It's tailgating season.
Well, how on earth did you land on building a side hustle based on tailgating? You know what? I should probably ask you first to define what tailgating is for us.
So yeah, depending on where the listeners are, I know that if you're across the pond or some other continents, so to speak, tailgating doesn't resonate the same as it does for Americans. So obviously, some people think tailgating of being too close to the car in front of you. I think of it as my happy place where before a sporting event or any kind of event where you get together with friends, you got the food going, music going, games going, and just connecting on the more personal level that we seem to lose more and more of each year in our society. So happy place, tailgating.
But it wouldn't necessarily involve a backyard barbecue. There needs to be an actual tailgate involved, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. I think when you're speaking tailgating, there's usually an event or something that you're going to, and this precedes it. The other part of it, I call it homegating, where maybe you're watching an event, maybe it's a sporting event, maybe it's like my wife, the Bachelorette, you're watching something, you're doing some type of party get together with some of the same elements of a tailgate. You got the drinks going, the food going, games, music, and you're kind of building up to this event, whether it's on television or whether it's out at a stadium somewhere.
Fun. Well, the next question then, what I'm curious about then is, what is the business model? What could your income streams be from something like that?
Sure. So I started Tailgating Challenge in 2012. So going on year 12 now. Time really does fly.
Congratulations.
And I still remember I was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time, and I attended University of South Carolina, and I went to all the games, loved tailgating, and I woke up one night, literally from bed, and said, Tailgating Challenge. I'm going to make a brand about it. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it and just see what happens. I didn't have illusions of grandeur or anything in my head at the time, but I popped out of bed, made a Facebook page in 2012, went back to sleep, and then started to slowly evolve it to, at the time, Twitter, Instagram, get a website, and start. The hardest part for entrepreneurs is the initial startup, right? And making connections and building credibility and hanging in there through the times that might be a little bit more challenging.
Especially since you're starting something pretty unconventional like a tailgating challenge.
Exactly. So, but the whole like intent and thought behind it initially was like, hey, I'm going to try to get some cool products sent to me. I do tailgating a lot. So if I get some, free goodies at the time, that's going to be great. And maybe meet some cool people in the process. That was really my first thoughts with this. And then from there, like it turned into like now the world's largest tailgating online social media site with different revenue streams with Google, YouTube views. Now you can get like Facebook and Instagram views are actually monetizable at a certain size.
Sure.
Amazon store, so affiliate stuff. But then the biggest one is still brand deals.
Okay.
Like brand deals are still the biggest source of revenue. And that's going to look different for every brand out there. It depends on your segment. It depends on your size. It depends on a lot of different factors with the brands you may be connecting with.
So back then when you started that, you started it with a Facebook page.
Correct.
What did the business look like back then? Is that that was your base, was the Facebook page, and your thought was to grow the Facebook page?
Well, the Facebook page originally, and then like soon after I bought the tailgating-challenge.com website and started to build that out. Because at the time, Tailgating Challenge was sold. I've since acquired that site as well too with it. So it was really like Facebook and then a website where I would do like some blog articles and things like that back in the 2012 and early thereafter. And then it was really just starting to connect with brands. Okay. And it's the unconventional part of this that's going to be like counterintuitive to probably a lot of the people listening right now. I did everything for free. I did everything for free for a few years.
Right.
For a few years, because I was like, when you have 78 people following you or whatever the case may be, you don't have a lot of like negotiating room for it. So it's like, that's when it's bootstrapping. It's like, hey, I'm going to prove my worth. If you'll send me a product and give me a chance, and then I started creating content. And the more content you create, the more relationships you have, then you start to build some credibility with it. You start to build a little bit more of a base. And then you can turn into maybe start asking for, I started with like just little, not that I make a lot of money now, but little small sums of money just to kind of like test, like, am I there? Like, am I there yet with maybe brands thinking like I might be worth something to them aside from like a cooler or a grill or something. But that's the part that a lot of people are just like, so you worked for free for years. Yes. There's your unconventional thought of the day.
And that goes to how passionate you are about this, that you'd be willing to do that.
It's my happy place. It truly is. And so like, while there's still a large element of work to it,
yes,
that a lot of people don't see behind the scenes.
Yes.
They just see the fun because we can create content in a tailgate. We're having fun. Maybe we're having a couple of adult beverages and I'll pull the camera out and I'll bring a couple of like goodies up there I need to do content on and we'll shoot them and so we're actually working, but it doesn't feel like work. And for the people that may be involved in the videos with me, it just feels like we're hanging out, having a good time, but a camera might be rolling.
Right. And then there's work to do on the back end with the editing and sound. It's
exactly
the whole marketing piece.
You know.
But I don't think anybody listening or watching would dispute the fact that you love what you're doing. I mean, your enthusiasm just oozes through.
Well, I appreciate that. And I hope that it does. And I tell everybody like, because it's still a side hustle.
Right.
I know we're on Side Hustle Hero. I still have a demanding corporate job at a large corporation that takes, more than 40 plus hours a week. And so then being able to shift your mind from corporate America to like, let's have some fun and see what we need to do with tailgating. Like that can be the hard part, to find the balance, the consistency to be successful.
Yes. And I definitely was going to ask you about that, particularly because it is very full time for you, that this is a side hustle. You mentioned you were doing it for free for a number of years. Do you remember that first potential client that said, yes, they would send you something even before you were actually getting paid, but just like a product? Do you remember what that was?
There were two right around the same time, and I will never forget them. One, unfortunately, has since gone out of business, but it was like you put your hamburgers on it, and it was like a piece of metal that could sear like your team's emblem into the meat.
Oh.
So that was fun.
Okay.
That was the first one. The second one that I still remember and still have, and they're still operating, doing fine, is Polar Bear Coolers out of Georgia. It's a soft-sided cooler. And I still remember where I was when I got the email back from them. I was doing a jog on the trail down the Chattahoochee River in Atlanta. Okay. And I stopped and looked at my phone and they said, yeah, we're in. You want us to put your logo on there? And I was like, putting my logo on there at the time like meant like so much to me. And I still had that cooler in my basement here. Just was that one thing of like, just remember like everybody starts somewhere and like just keep on pushing and use those little things as motivation to keep going.
Oh man, you're going to have to send them a little YouTube short or something of this clip. That's very cool. So how did you build it from there? So you started doing this for free for a number of years.
Correct. What I would do is, so I would reach out to a lot of brands for trying to find some fits with it. And as probably some of you and listeners know, like I got a lot of no responses back.
Yeah.
Or, hey, thank you, but this may not be the best fit for our company at the time. All the blah, 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 just basically saying like, you're not quite there yet, buddy. And that's like, I can read into that and that's fine.
Yeah.
For it. But like continuing to kind of pound the pavement to just build some of those initial connections. And then rolling it into something that could provide more value for the company. So in addition to doing like a blog, because I didn't even do 2012, I wasn't even doing videos. Like I was taking pictures, doing a blog like at the time and putting like some pictures on Facebook for it. But I said, what engages people on social media? And I was like, wow, these giveaways keep popping up on my feed that people do. And I was like, well, would you mind sending one product to me? And then can you hold one in trust and we'll run a giveaway and we'll send you the winner's information. And part of it will be like for them to follow you. So build some additional like followers and brand awareness for them. And so like, that was the part that helped to like start to tip the followers up a little bit, because now you're you're incentivizing a potential audience to get involved with it too. And then from there, I started just doing, at first it wasn't weekly giveaways. Now I do weekly giveaways. And sometimes it's multiple giveaways per week because companies, especially this time of year with football, like kicking off, of just everyone wanting to get in front of a tailgating audience right now.
Yes.
So the giveaways were the next level to start to then build some of those followers up to make it a more legitimate brand or brand that more companies would want to work with, and then kind of do that same thing.
When you started doing that is when you saw your followers starting to ramp up, because then you were cross promoting with those brands, right?
Correct. In incentivizing customers to then also do that, the comment, tag a friend, share, follow the sponsor. So then the sharing, and we know for those who've been in social media for a long time, like 2012 Facebook, oh man, that was easy at the time, because like you could put up a post of that and man, you just get hundreds of things. And now like Facebook is, right, I probably get less engagement now with almost 200,000 followers than I do with 2,000 because of Facebook's terrible algorithm. There,
Agreed.
I said it. But anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same page with you on that, Luke. But Instagram seems to be quite engaged for you.
Yeah, Instagram this year. And so before I say that, I'm going to say this is a good plug of just not putting all your eggs in one basket. Making sure like, you have your website, you have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, because you never know. We don't control any of those, right? And somebody could pull a switch one day and be like, you know what? We're going to make this harder on Luke right now and not let him reach as many of his followers. And again, I know it's not directed at me, but I know other business owners that dabble in this will be like, I heard that. Yeah. And so as Facebook like seemed to like kind of go down with engagement, Instagram, especially doing reels, like reels are the thing right now that are popping, and like finding that sweet spot for your particular audience. Because one of the, I won't say it's a mistake, but one of the learnings that I had earlier this year, and you're probably catching, I just met you a few moments ago, but I'm a talker, right? I can talk all day in my regular job. I talk to you about tailgating. We can hang out, talk about anything. And so with that, some of my videos focused were like more on the review aspect of products, where I was really diving into it, talking about a lot of the stuff. And so then I had to have that realization. I'm like, look, you're doing some of the things that other people are doing, but it's not having the same results. And why? Like, why? And I started to just watch more of the videos that were viral or successful.
Yes.
And I was like, like these are short. And they're not always talking. It might just be just a quick, like, boom, boom, boom. And you're like, what did I just see? Then you watch it again. And so it's almost like it's a teaser almost to then maybe have people go watch longer form videos.
Right.
But I had to get comfortable in doing shorter things. And now that I love shorter things now, because that's honestly way easier, way less editing, way less like production and everything.
Yeah.
And so finding the sweet spot for me, Like it's on Instagram, it's probably a little bit under 15 seconds, like something with a very bright outdoorsy background. Like those are things for me that have resonated, but every single person's page and audience may be a little bit different. So I tell everybody just like play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Is it under 10 seconds? Is it 30 seconds? Like what's going to work best for you? I think only like that brand can find out. They need to just kind of play with stuff and hit some switches and see what's going to resonate.
Yeah. What suits you, but also what your audience is going to like too.
Exactly.
Short form, long form. So how did you convince those brands in the early days to even send you, well, one product, but hold a second one for you and participate in that? Had you built a relationship with them by then, or did your followers warrant them saying yes?
I don't know if either one. If I look back on it and think honestly, and a lot of it too was, and I know I just said I'm a big talker now, but like back in the day, like I wasn't as comfortable on camera. I think doing some of this and being on like, TV shows and news and doing stuff in like public events. Like now I'm just like, all right, we'll talk about anything you want to go. We can talk about it. But I wasn't as comfortable back then. And so like most things were done via email, like with the shorthand email, trying to find the right person in the company, which is still the hardest part, I think, for a lot of people trying to make connections. Who's the gatekeeper? Can you find the gatekeeper? And then you might be able to get something done with it. But I think it was just kind of part of it. Might have been selling them on a little bit of a dream, right? Of just like, there's not a lot of people that were doing what I was working to build up and do. And there still honestly aren't that many people like in the tailgating specific scene that are really kind of doing this part. There's people that walk around and do stuff like at tailgates, but they double down and like are doing tips and like getting a lot of product reviews and doing that stuff. There's still not many that are specifically focused on that aspect. And so I think like that was part of it because they were like, okay, well, this guy, like he seems engaged.
Yes.
He's doing something that's a little bit different. Like if it pays off, it's sweet. That's going to help us because stuff's going to be up there for years to come.
Right.
And if it doesn't, it's a product.
Right.
And one of the things that I have to remember is like a product that could cost a brand $100 to sell into you. Yes. It might only cost them $15.
Yes.
Right. So like part of that too is like their cost benefit analysis, depending on it, is like, hey, we could take a shot in the dark on this guy for $20 and just see what happens type of deal.
And for some things like podcast or maybe even some of your blog posts, they may be around for a very, very long time so that the brand benefits from that. It's not just like a one-shot deal. It's not just that first go around of the video, but it gets to be there potentially for perpetuity. I did notice on your giveaways how effective you are at doing them. And part of it I really appreciated was how you set up this cross promotion. So in order, for example, for me to, for me to enter to win, I had to comment why I love tailgating, which is great, or lobster. I mean, those are examples from yours. I love that one. I had to create a story as well, right? Drop it into a story.
Correct.
Tag somebody that was going to be part of this for me and follow the pages of the sponsor.
Correct.
And so you've got a great opportunity there for cross promotion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I will say too, like right now, like those what are called collaboration posts, like on Instagram and Facebook, I feel that, again, I don't think any of us fully know everything about the algorithm, but in just doing some of my posts where I do something just tailgating challenge versus doing tailgating challenge and XYZ brand, it seems like when you add the collaborator, the algorithm like appreciates it more, like it gives you a little bit more organic reach.
Oh, so they like that marriage between the two then, is your finding?
That's what it appears. Again, like I don't know anybody that knows everything about this algorithm.
No.
I think some of it is trial and error. And I've just seen that with similar posts, and one will be like, okay. And another will be like, oh man, that was really getting after it now after we did the collaboration.
Well, take us behind the scenes a little bit. How do you determine that somebody's done all those things?
So like for every single entry, when it's on social media only, like I'll be honest, it's kind of hard for it. So but again, now when we do the random selections of winners and put everything in there, like I can go in there and see then, but can I see like everything in real time? No. We encourage that and everything. And so again, if they are selected who didn't do those things and we cross verify, then it's like next, they didn't really do it with it. So we do some of those things that way. And then we also, I guess my wife helps hold the camera. So she's part of the week, part of the week.
Yeah.
And then like I use another platform called Gleam, Gleam, which is a service to run giveaways, which can also collect email addresses. And that's another value add for some brands that want to do email marketing, because as part of it, the entrant will put their email address in there and will capture it. And then you can send over an Excel file with those that participated over to the brand at the end of the contest as well, too. In addition to like getting entries for following on like, Instagram or TikTok, whatever the case may be.
Right. How do you do the random draw? Like actually, how do you pull the names? How does that work?
So if it's through the computer program, like the one I was talking about, like you just tap a button and it says, this person won out of here, and here's the entry and everything that they did. So yeah, computerize, again, that helps a lot. Social media ones take a little bit longer to put them all into something and have that random number generator and everything. But it's all in good fun at the end of the day. It costs people nothing. Like some brands like, hey, can we do a raffle? Can we do a raffle and have people pay like $5 or $10 a ticket to get in? I'm just like, I did that one time and that was not the jam.
Okay.
With the fans. So I was like, we're not doing that anymore. I turned those down if anybody wants to do that.
Okay. And so for a couple of those giveaways that I saw, the lobster giveaway, the tailgating challenge, how did you structure the deal with them? Is that free product they're giving you, or at this point, because of the number of followers you've got, there's a dollar payment as well? How does that work?
So it's normally going to be a product and some type of monetary compensation, which can vary brand to brand, product to product. And again, this time of the year, the numbers might be a little bit higher because guess what? Tailgating's in higher demand right now with college football and everything. And there are some too, like if I have a relationship with somebody, I've been working with them for years and they supported me back in the day, like they may get, their deals may be more favorable than somebody that's coming in now. Again, if we're being totally transparent with everything. But again, I try to respect these people that helped me like 5+ years ago do stuff. And so I'm going to try to help support them now too, even if because again, part of it, they supported me when I was growing. I believe in like, if you do the right thing, good things will come back around for you too.
I believe that too. I had a self-storage facility for about 18 years and people would ask me periodically, how long is it before you sell someone's stuff? And I said, to be honest with you, it really depends. If somebody's been with us for a long, long time, it's like, just come get your stuff. If you win the lottery in the future, you can send us back a check.
Right.
There was a box of stuff that we actually delivered to somebody, to a customer. But if someone's late the first month, it's like, hey, you knew this was a bad idea to begin with. I got zero patience for that. So it's nice to be able to have that flexibility. You mentioned that the biggest revenue source is the brand deals. How much of that would you be bringing in a month?
So again, it's variable. Like, and I'll give this example. I will give a few numbers as well too. But like, I go back to 2020, 2019 at the time. That was my best year. I was like, oh man, we're gonna make it. We're doing good. 2020 hit, and I was like, well, pretty much every brand had $0 at that point to do anything with. So it went from my best year ever to like. It can't be the worst because I used to do everything for free. So it can't be the worst. But like, it was a dig. And so I quickly learned there's a lot of ups and downs. And again, that's with all entrepreneurs, I think, with what their line of business is with it for it. And so like part of that, like, and I'll say this part too, I doubled down to that part when I was not getting the brand deals in 2020. I said, how can I get better? How can I get better in this kind of downtime? And my focus was, I want to get better at video creation. I want to get better at videos. I spend more time on them, think of different ways to come at it, and just like do some of it. Since I wouldn't give me deals, I could just be creative that I didn't have. Like right now, I have this whole like a long work list of videos I have to shoot because of different contractual obligations that I have going on now. At the time, I'm like, hey, I'm just looking around. My basement has so many toys in it right now, like you would be amazed. And so I could just do fun things with that and like work on I don't want to say perfecting, because I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but honing my craft with that. And so like with that, I think that's part, I say that part too, of just like when you're having those moments where maybe things aren't maybe as shipshape as you want them to be on the financial standpoint of like, what can you do to double down either for personal development or growth in an area that when this storm passes, you're going to be better for it. And you look back on it and be like, I'm glad that I didn't quit. And I'm glad I did something aside from kind of sit back and put my feet up on them coffee table and watch movies all day versus maybe hustling a little bit. So with that being said, I mean, brand, as I said, they vary very widely.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if you look at it, probably if we just broke out like gross revenue before expenses,
Okay.
you're probably like, if we average it out per month, you're probably in the like $3,000, $3,500 a month, roughly, knowing there's some ebbs and flows where some months are going to be lower and some months can be higher than that.
Sure. And then to add to that, those other sources you mentioned, the Amazon sales and YouTube, Facebook, and all that. And so in total, with all that wrapped up, what would you say per month on average?
So I was kind of putting some of that into there as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
Numbers in my head.
Sure.
And again, my hope is we're kicking off this football season, not to get like ahead of myself, but like this might be the best football season yet. So we're gonna think, hope, and pray that that's the case. And if not, we're gonna double down and figure out how to get better. That's what we're.
Well, I was just gonna say, it sounds like you're doing everything right to make that happen. So how are you finding brands these days?
So the parts people ask me like, Luke, do you still just reach out to every brand like you did in the beginning? And I'm like, every once in a while, but like more brands find me now too, right? Especially this time of year, because with their marketing calendars, they're like, oh, football, tailgating. Let me Google tailgating. Let me Google tailgating influencers. Oh my gosh, tailgating challenge is probably one of the top ones that pulls up. Again, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm a very humble dude, but it does pull up that way with a lot of stuff that when you're looking for things like that. And so like, just wait to see like what they say. Like right now, like I have a lot of things in my work queue. So I'm not really reaching out to brands. If they reach out to me right now, I'm still going to entertain it and set proper expectations. Whereas like after football season, when things quiet down, it might be like, hey, if this is a product I think could really resonate well, I'll probably shoot them an email and say, hey, like, I think this product will be awesome. Here's some of the things about me on why I think I could add value. And would you like to do a collaboration?
It sounds very much like the podcast space. Because, of course, for the first bunch of episodes, I was reaching out 100% of the time because it was all so new. Sure. And now I'm to the point where I'm getting pitched all the time. Right? But then periodically I'll hear of a side hustle and I'll look them up and then I'll track them down because it's like, I'd love to cover this topic on the show. But you only get to that by doing all those episodes, by doing all those tailgating posts. In the case of yourself, it's been 12 years, you said. So you've given
October,
it.
It's hard to believe it's been 12 years, but 12 years in October has passed. And again, I still have a day job. And so some people would be like, oh my gosh, like 12 years and you're still chasing it. I'm still chasing the tailgating dream. It's growing. I'm happy. Yeah. It doesn't feel all the time just like work. And the reality is like, I have a very good day job that I enjoy. I have good people that work around me. So it would be hard to leave unless this just blew out of the water with just like, if ESPN gave me a ring and listened to your episode, oh my gosh, you call Luke, you'd like get him on the show, then maybe that would be different. But anyways.
Oh, you're still young. There's lots of time for that. When brands do reach out to you, do you find that most of the deals are kind of a one-time, one-off thing, or do you do recurring things or offer them packages, or how does that work?
Yes to all of them. Companies nowadays, like many of them want a phone call now. And so like you have to make additional time because like I get and respect the part too that there's a lot of limited budgets that I think brands are dealing with. And I mean, the economy is, challenging for a lot of people right now with it. And so like, you have to take the time to spend with them because they also probably get pitched just like all day from all these crazy, some might be very legitimate and some may have no legitimacy to them to say, can I get some free stuff, right? So I think they're trying to weed through a lot of the different things that are coming to their box and making sure like talking to somebody and kind of getting the vibe of like, okay, this feels legit versus like, if the person don't want to talk to you on the phone, it's probably not legit, right?
Exactly. And that's why I think it's totally reasonable that they would want to connect with you because it's a real person. It's who he says he is. Plus you are representing their brand in a way. So they want to make sure that their brand is in good hands.
Hey, now, I work at State Farm, so we can't be having those Allstate references on the pod right now. I'm just kidding.
Well, your expenses for this seem pretty low, particularly since you're being provided the product. Is that the case? You got pretty low expenses with this business?
Yeah, pretty low expenses. Yeah. And again, like that's one of the things that I focus on hard. because like for a long time there was no money, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
still like being a side hustle, if your day job like again, there's no stress, right? So again, if something happens, it's not a big deal. But I try to keep expenses very low. And
Mm-hmm.
like with that, I do my own shoots. Like I don't hire actors, like I don't hire a camera person, I don't hire an editor. We do our own accounting. It's like all the stuff that like other brands might pay for to do. I try to do like most all of that within my scope. And then so you have expenses like, your website,
Yes.
domain fees. I don't do a lot of boosting on social media. I might see the social media machine every once in a while if a brand is like really like wanting to like push something even harder. I'm like, okay, well, pay me. I'll throw some money into this and do it. But
Did you do more ads in the earlier days or no?
there was like on Facebook, like there was a time I did one ad. I remember this because I'm glad you brought it up. I did one ad on this cooler that turned into like a table with like 4 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And like the ad just blew up and gained just thousands and thousands of followers for me,
Wow.
like over a few months. And so I kept pumping it. Like, I mean, not with, we're talking a few $100 here.
Yes.
Like, I'm not talking
Yeah.
like some crazy money
Yeah.
with it. And I'm like, now, if you told any brand that day, hey, if you could put a few $100 in and get thousands of followers,
Yeah.
like every brand's like, oh yeah, baby, sign me up for that. Time to change.
Yeah.
And like that ad eventually was no longer good to do anymore with it. But like that was something that got like thousands and thousands of followers on Facebook, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Right place, right time, right content in that moment. Yep.
Exactly.
Other than your very understanding wife, you don't have any other.
She's amazing if she ever listens to this episode.
You don't have any other staff or contract out much stuff. It's all in house.
No, just like again, I have a lot of good friends and they just help. And so
Nice.
usually what I do for them is like, hey, if they want some of the product, you need it, you can have it when we're done. Or like buying beer and food and everything for them because they're going to hang out with me anyways. Because sometimes I'm kind of fun to hang out with. And so and now like, hey, if I can get free food and drinks and just like be in some videos and like or hold a camera, then it's like it's a win for both sides.
Because typically for the brand deals, you get to keep the product.
Correct. For the majority of them.
You do work full time. What do you do for full time work?
So I am in a leadership position at State Farm Insurance Company. So
Okay.
I've been doing that now I just celebrated 20 years with State Farm. So
Very nice.
They have treated me well. They've been a good neighbor to myself and my family. So like, there's a State Farm shout out there too. But still like Jake from State Farm hasn't reached out to me. Where's our tailgating video, Jake? Come on.
I've been after you for years. Get on it. Something tells me that this is going to depend on the season, but how much time do you spend on your side hustle per week?
I was asked that. So I was stopping in the gym actually yesterday. The gym owner was like, hey, there's a local celebrity just walked in. And I was like, and I made the joke because I don't want it to seem like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, maybe a D-list celebrity at best, right? Because I was on ESPN too recently. I was in the Barbie movie and some things. And so newspaper and these local pick them up all the time. So at first they're always surprised I still have a day job, right? That I do. And the second, like, how much time do you spend? I thought about it. And just like, it depends on the day, but like, it's probably another 30 plus hours a week. So you're probably like,
wow.
Yeah. I mean, just hours a day of like doing the connections, responding to I try to respond to every single inbox or DM that people send me because like, I've reached out to so many people that have maybe been at a higher position just in regards to their followers or where they are. And so many of them never give you the time of day, which I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody here, but I said, if I continue to grow and I want to try my best to like, again, going back to being myself and doing what I want others to do unto me as well too. So I try to spend time, even if it's just a generic response, just at least acknowledging somebody took the time to write me. I want to write it back.
I do my best to try to do that as well for that very same reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if that's a 40, 50 hour week at work plus 30 hours on your side hustle or however.
That sounds terrible when I'm saying it out loud.
What's been your key to juggle all that?
So one, I made the joke is like, I don't have kids. I have bunny rabbits. So bunny rabbits are children that run around the house or hop around the house. So again, that helps. Like, shout out to all the great parents out there. I am not diminishing that for a second. And those that are parents and do a side hustle have my utmost respect with everything they do. But I think that's part of it. having a wife that's very understanding and knows, like, at this point, this is like truly a part of me and the person I am. And it's like, if you take tailgating away, then you kind of took away part of Luke. And that's like, and she don't want that either, because I think she kind of likes me. Yeah. But, and then just like trying to I try to lead with a positive attitude, right? And just stay positive. Even like there's some long days, right? There are some long days at times. Yeah. I know people listening right now could probably be like, yes, I understand. And like trying to remember like why we do it. Why do you do it? And like, I do it because I'm passionate about tailgating. I do it because I'm passionate about people connecting like out at these tailgates and doing that. That's why I started this to begin with, right? It turned into something where there's actually a little bit of money being made and more work than I ever thought would come from it. But it gives like the core principle was like, it was my happy place after work and after I graduated from the University of South Carolina to go and spend time with my friends, right? And we would be able to hang out. We'd be able to just cut up, have a couple of drinks, play games, walk around, see people we haven't seen in a while. Yes. And like that always resonated with me. And like that was the spark for doing Tailgating Challenge and a piece of what you see today.
So that really took the pressure off, I think, because it sounds like the motivation was bringing community together and, hey, getting some free products along the way. And if this thing makes some cash flow at some point, all the better. Is that kind of the vibe?
Pretty much. And so that's why it's low stress in that respect, because, you know, I make the joke to people. It's like, I can work on my side hustle while I drink a beer or while I hang out with my friends. And so it doesn't feel, even though that's technically work,
yes,
it doesn't always feel some of those parts as much like work versus like sometimes like it's an excuse for people to come hang out, even doing these videos, because some of the neighbors and stuff that I have, like, when I move away, they miss it. Like they miss like kind of the community of coming together and just like shooting videos and hanging out and shooting the you know what and everything kind of too while we're doing it.
Well, and honestly, Luke, just having this conversation with you, is this work or is this play? It's both. It's what we do, but I know we're having a good time here. So, so you've grown your following now to 300,000,
roughly 300,000 across the different social media platforms. Correct.
And from what I've heard in your story so far, that's really just been you at it week in and week out over the long haul, trying different things, seeing what works, ramping up on that. You mentioned Barbie. Clearly, you have a knack for promotion. How the hell did you get a shot of tailgating in the Barbie movie?
I mean, that is still like, you know, we always have those kind of gee whiz stories of talking to somebody. Like, this is the one, like, it's still harder for me to believe because, like, I didn't grow up playing with Barbies. There's anything wrong with that for a guy to do. But, like, I probably would have never watched the movie, like, if I wasn't in the movie. But literally, I got an email. And it said, hey, you know, we saw one of your videos. We'd like to put it in the Barbie movie. And the first thing I thought, I was like, sure.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for because again, I get so many like spam emails of just people that are like fishing or whatever the case may be. But then I started checking on the email address. I was like, I'm interested enough to at least look into it.
Yes.
And I was like, this is WarnerBrothers.com. And I was like, this might be legitimate. And it was. And so they had actually been doing research looking for a video of the beer fridge. And which is crazy, right? But I don't know if you have seen the movie, but like there's a lot of beer fridge references later on in the Barbie movie, which then, because I was like, oh, what are they using this for in the movie? I don't even understand. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But the interesting part that I tell people that might be doing content creation with this too, is funny because I try my hardest to beat on so many doors, and most of the time people never even open them. And like Warner Brothers, like I could probably message them all day long. No one ever messaged me back.
Yes.
And then out of the freaking blue, like I get an email and that they found me. And so that's why I say you never know what your content or the things that you do might later inspire. But the part of it that was different, because it wasn't the first beer fridge video I've done. It wasn't the best one I've done. It wasn't the most viewed one I've done, but it was one thing that was different. All of my other videos were inside in the basement. This one, I had a random idea. I said, you know what? I'm going to take this. We're going to just take it outside. We're going to set it on the back of a pickup truck, like a tailgating event, and then do the video. And that was the part that the outdoors, the difference, like sitting on a tailgate with the sun and everything, like, I
Yeah.
think that was the part that grabbed the attention a little bit more than just in a basement. There's
Yes.
just kind of
Yes.
like, you can see a dime a dozen with it, sometimes.
Sure. And for doing the research for this interview, I did come across that Barbie clip, and I seemed it remember to be very, very bright and tailgate and so cool.
It was bright. It was brief. As I
Yeah.
say, it was like 2 seconds of fame, right? Because again, there's that montage, like 30 minutes into the movie, where like, what do men in the real world do? They tailgate and drink beer based on that particular clip, but not stereotyping anything, of course. But just cool and very honored to be in the movie. And
Sure.
you just never know what'll happen. You never know what'll happen if you keep putting yourself out there.
And while we're on the topic of your knack for promotion, apparently you hold a Guinness World Book record.
So it is, I set the world record. You can probably see it. I don't know if this will be on.
Yeah.
It's back up there on top there. It was world's longest backwards cornhole toss. That was in 2022. About 8 months ago, somebody else broke it. So now people are like, Luke, are you going to go and like, and maybe like I have some other Guinness ideas that I'm working on that are going to be like potentially pretty unique if we can make them like come together.
And what did you say the record was for?
World's longest backwards cornhole toss.
We need to back that up just a little bit more and have you describe what a corn toss even is, or cornhole toss.
Oh, okay, sure. So cornhole is probably the leading yard game. When you think of tailgating games, yard games, cornhole. So they are wooden boards with a circular hole near the back portion that are at an angle. You throw a bag, historically, of corn or kernels in there for it. Again, there's some different resins and stuff people use now. And you're trying to get it in the hole for 3 points or get it on the board for 1 point. Historically, the boards are 27 feet apart for normalized cornhole that you're throwing.
Wow. So you weren't just tossing it, you were turned around and doing it backwards for that record.
Correct. And that one was a little over 36 feet. We did that. So again, not a crazy distance. When you can't see what it is, like everything becomes so much more challenging.
And it's quite a distance, 36 feet. That's like 12 meters. Well, very, very impressive, Luke.
I was excited when it took me about 10 minutes because like, as long as you have to have like a surveyor, you got to have people out there, and the town gave me space in the town square to do it. And people in the newspaper did a story the day before. So people were coming down there. Not that there was thousands of people, but now I have to perform in front of people and make this happen too. So it felt like 10 minutes felt like 2 hours.
Yes.
Like if you're watching it and not making it as fast as you thought you might.
So for those of you just listening, Luke is currently wearing a tailgating champion belt that looks like something out of a World Wrestling Federation title belt. What do you do with that?
Back to the shameless promotion. And when I went to the tailgate last night for the Colorado North Dakota State game, I got to the parking lot. We had a drink. I put this belt on. It has holders on both sides for more drinks you walk around with. And then all of a sudden, people want to either A, get a picture with you, get a video, like doing stuff around the campus with the TV cameras, or you have some people are just like, congratulations. And I always just say, thank you. And I'm thinking there's probably maybe more than what it is. And other people be like, I'm more of a champion. I deserve the belt for it. And so it generates conversation.
Sure.
Which I think is like, if we're trying to promote ourselves or brands, whatever that looks like, of finding a unique way to do that, that's still back, like doing something authentic for yourself. And me, I'm very out there. I'll wear bright colors and costumes
and through walking past other people's tailgates and stadium parking lots, et cetera, I'm sure that has created not only followers as part of that 300,000, but also potentially brands as well that see, this guy's going to be able to promote us.
Or like I met with a brand. That was part of the reason I went, because a brand was flying in. It was partnering with the university. And so I was like, well, while you're there, I'll come by your tailgate as well too, right? And so again, to strengthen some of those connections, because I was like, man, a tailgate challenge guy, meeting somebody at a tailgate, that's how you get business done in the tailgating world.
And before we leave your knack for promotion, I understand that you have a special day coming up in September, every September.
every September, the first Saturday of September, I found a National Tailgating Day.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
Supposed to be the ninth annual one. People ask, like, well, why'd you find National Tailgating Day? And my short answer is because there wasn't one. And I was honestly shocked and a little appalled that we have a national talk, like a pirate day and eat a cookie day and everything else in between, but there was no tailgating day when I did the homework on there. And so I was being the tailgating champion that I am. I felt I had to take matters in my own hands. And I got with National Day calendar and did all the steps and show I was a subject matter expert that could prevent this day and all that good stuff to make it happen. And now we're 9 years in, and it's just another cool way to help, as I say, spread the tailgating gospel that people can tell I'm very passionate about.
Yes.
With it. And then like it gets a lot of different shout outs from like celebrities and brands where they use like hashtag National Tailgating Day in there. And so the only air quote problem with that is like, they don't say, well, tailgating challenger, Luke Lorick founded it. So I'm like, they're still celebrating the day. And that's what the intent was. I was like, man, it would be sweet. Like if Martha Stewart or Garth Brooks, those people that have like posted it before with, just give me a tag. Just give me a tag out there. I'll reshare to add you as a collaborator. It's cool.
I'm sure you do a great job at promoting it every year. So what's the best way for our listeners to connect with you, Luke?
Sure. So if you type in tailgating challenge to Google, you'll find me. You can do it Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, tailgating challenge, tailgating challenge, tailgating challenge. That's a tailgating challenge. That's how you just type it in there. You probably just start typing it. It'll probably pop up in there too. And again, just anybody that's watching this, like, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Because again, I don't take anything for granted. And I know like back in the day when we were trying, I'll tell this last story, but we were at a Christmas party and I had like 77 followers. I think I said that earlier when I just started. And my mom, who has been my biggest fan for life and been my biggest supporter with Tailgate Challenge too, she's like, all right, we're going to go to this big Christmas party and we're going to pass out business cards and ask people like see if they'll just follow you like on the spot. Just try to get to 100. Like trying to get to 100 followers. And that's why I go back to like, because it was a grind just trying to get the first 100 out there. So that's why I never take anything for granted. Just appreciate there's so many different platforms and pages and everybody's trying to take everybody's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. So if anybody's giving me just a moment of their time, like I'm truly grateful for that.
Right. And thumbs up to Mom for being such a support.
Yeah, I love Mom.
So what's your best tip, Luke, to inspire others to start or grow their side hustle?
I would say a couple of things. One is just consistency, right? There's not what the old saying is like, there's not a lot of overnight superstars, right? Not a lot of overnight celebrities. Like you're going to usually have to put in a lot of work to get to that point. I see a lot of people that kind of start down a side hustle path and then they quit when they realize that actually this is not going to be as easy or it's going to be as quick as I thought it was going to be. Yeah. So the other part of it is if you're doing a true side hustle, try to find something that you care about. Try to find something that you're passionate about and not just another thing that feels like work. Because if you work all day and then your side hustle just feels like work, it's probably going to be harder to sustain that, to overcome some of the early upfront, maybe not making a lot of money or just getting told no a lot. So try to find something that you're passionate about. Those would be two of my biggest things: consistency, and then just find something that you actually care about versus something you think is going to make you a lot of money.
Because even if you weren't doing this as a side hustle, you're still going to be out there tailgating and going to the games.
You better believe it. Tailgating out, whatever the case, and it goes bye-bye, I'm still going to tailgate. Like I'm still doing. I might not be filming as much content, but I'm definitely still going because again, that's my utopia. That's my happy place.
Thank you so much, Luke, for sharing your tailgating world with us. And of course, I wish you a very happy and successful National Tailgating Day. And thank you for being today's Side Hustle Hero.
And I'll leave people with this, my motto: don't hate, just tailgate.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks again, Luke. The story of Luke's side hustle is a great reminder that every new venture needs time to grow. It's too easy to get discouraged when things don't take off as quickly as you'd hoped. But here's the thing. While you're working hard to build your business and increase sales, two important things are happening simultaneously. First, you're becoming more skilled, not just in the technical aspects of what you do, but also in the soft skills, how you handle clients, customers, peers, and even those inevitable, unexpected challenges. As your abilities grow, so does your quality of work. That, in turn, leads to a stronger product or service, more trust from your audience, and ultimately, more sales. Second, you're building connections and credibility with everyone from your customers to your suppliers to potential partners. These relationships take time, but they're vital to long-term success. When I first launched this podcast, I wasn't receiving pitches from guests. I was the only one doing the outreach, convincing people why they should be on the show. Now, thanks to time and persistence, the tables have turned. All that to say, if you're not getting the results that you want, take a page from Luke's playbook and ask yourself, what's one key area I can focus on that would really move the needle? Prioritize that. Block out time on your calendar for those crucial actions. Commit to them, get them done, and you'll start seeing the progress that you're shooting for. Well, that's a wrap for today. You'll find links to Luke's website, socials, and the full show notes at our website, sidehustlehero.com. Alongside receiving pitches for guests to be on the show, I do reach out to people when I hear of a lucrative side hustle that we haven't yet featured. And if there's a related topic or a specific side hustle that you'd like to learn about in an upcoming episode, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. If you're enjoying what you're seeing in this podcast, it would be so appreciated if you would take a moment and add your comment, share the episode, and please subscribe. It'll let others know that there's valuable content here to help them start or grow their side hustle. Thanks for watching, and hustle on.